Welcome back. In this video, I'll just briefly outline the pros and cons of filing a spousal, common law, or conjugal application inland versus overseas. So whichever one you decide, I'll just use the word spousal application, but it's obviously the same whether it's common law or conjugal as well. So I'll just want to briefly discuss inland versus overseas. Based on this, you can determine which one is best for you so you can file the appropriate application. The pros for an inland application, they're actually just twofold. One is the person you're trying to sponsor might be eligible for what's called an open work permit after the first stage of the application is approved. What that means is it's still up to the discretion of the officer to approve the application in principle, and once you get the approved in principle, your partner, your spouse can apply for that open work permit and legally work in Canada. To get the first stage approved, right now current processing times are about 8 to 12 months. So until then, your partner cannot be working in Canada, can still remain with you in Canada, but cannot work. Once he or she gets the open work permit, then you can legally work in Canada. So that's the pro. Another pro is very obvious, is that throughout the application, you can remain with your partner, with your spouse or common law partner, throughout the process. So, which is a big pro, actually. A lot of clients are deterred in filing these types of applications because processing times are very extensive. Currently, inland processing times are also extensive, but again, the benefit is that you can be together while the application is being processed. The con of inland application, so the disadvantages, is one, it is usually a longer processing time than other consulates outside of Canada. So to really know if this is a con for you, you'd have to definitely check the consulate in your home country and then the processing time of Canada. So for example, if you're a citizen of Australia, current processing times of Australia are actually much faster. Versus current processing times of the Philippines are longer than inland. So this might or might not be applicable to your specific situation, but predominantly inland is a little bit longer than most consulates outside of Canada. So we'll put that as a con. The other cons are, there's really no other con besides the processing times for most of my clients. For the overseas application, the con is that you cannot be together, obviously, because it's an application filed overseas. However, you can obviously be together if your partner or spouse has an additional visa, such as a visitor visa approved or a work permit application approved, and so forth. So again, an example I use here is we file the application in his or her home country, but your partner has a valid status document to enter Canada and visit you, for example. In that case, use your discretion to say, okay, which processing times are a little bit faster, and based on that, you can file the application. If you're on a visitor visa and you want to have that flexibility of traveling back and forth, then obviously it's recommended that you file overseas. With inland, it restricts your travels. You cannot travel once you file inland, versus with the overseas, so long as you have a status document, whether it's a visitor visa, a study permit, a work permit, that status document allows you to travel in and out of the country. The pros of the overseas, I just mentioned that, is that you're able to travel back and forth. It doesn't restrict you to just remain in Canada, which the inland does. And you have the right to appeal a negative decision, which you cannot do with the inland. So just to sum up, the pros of the inland is your partner does have the ability to get an open work permit. And the other pro is that they can be together, you guys can be together. The con is that there's no appeal process, the processing times are a little bit longer, and travels are restricted, which means you cannot travel outside of Canada because it's an inland application. The pros and cons for the overseas is that There's a flexibility of travel so long as there is another status document. There is the right for appeal, and usually processing times are a little bit shorter than inland. I hope that kind of made it a little bit more clear as to where you should file your application. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to give us a call. Until next time, thanks so much.